Hello beautiful people of YouTube, and welcome to this video where I'm going to talk about the symptoms that I had before being diagnosed with a labrum tear and a hip impingement. A lot of people have asked me this question, so I figured that it would make sense to make a video and tell you a little bit about what my story was right until I got diagnosed. I want to remind you that everybody is different and my symptoms can be very different from the symptoms that other people can feel. And that's actually evidence that I have found in the Facebook group that I'm part of. People have a lot of different symptoms. And I have read stories of people that have been diagnosed right away and people that have had to go through so many different specialties, even some surgeries before getting diagnosed. So please take everything that I say with a grain of salt. This is my experience. I want to share it with you because it looks like you guys are curious, but please make sure to consult with a medical professional about your exact symptoms and the treatment moving forward. So with that disclaimer, let's get started. To give you a little bit of a background, I am a figure skater. I am not in the Olympics, or I will ever be. I started skating 2 years ago, and by the time that I felt the injury, I was obsessed with two jumps that take off on the right leg and land on the same leg. One of those jumps is called the loop jump. I'm going to put it on the screen. Fortunately, I don't have any footage of me doing it. You can see that this jump takes off in some sort of like a impingement position because the right leg is kind of like squatting a little bit. The hip is a little bit bent. You're kind of squatting, and then from that position you take off, you spin on the air and land on that same leg. There is another jump that is based on this one called the flip jump, which is the one that I was obsessed with when I started feeling symptoms. However, while I was learning those jumps, I started learning a sit spin on my left leg, which is a spin on my left leg in a single leg squat. So the pain started the day after I did my first sit spin. I believed that the injury came from doing the sit spin. I remember feeling the same pain, and now everything makes a lot of sense because I understand what my condition is, but at the time I just remember feeling the pain when I was taking off to do the loop jump. The pain got so bad that I had to quit skating that day, and every time that I came back I just felt a lot of pain. So I ended up in physical therapy. With the symptoms that I had and what I had told my physical therapist, we thought that I had a muscle strain in the hip flexor in the right. Why? Because we thought that maybe when I was doing the sit spin, my leg was delayed, and the force to get the leg together for the sit spin was what caused the strain. So we started doing physical therapy based on that. The pain in the groin was the only thing that I felt at the time. I didn't have any other symptoms. And now that I think about it, it's a pretty straightforward symptom, but at the time, again, we thought that it was a muscle strain because the background that I gave my physical therapist was a different thing. So we started doing strengthening for that to avoid this from happening again, and of course, heal the muscle. I did 1 full month of physical therapy. I had some pain still at the end of that month, so my physical therapist suggested to be off the ice and any other activity for another month. He developed a protocol for me to do exercise away from physical therapy sessions because at that time I was just freestyling in the gym and just going to the ice. So I did that for a full month, and I remember during that month I traveled. I flew for 6 hours. It was a 6-hour flight, and when I got to my destination I couldn't even walk. I was in so much pain. And I think the pain here, again, in the groin, lasted probably like a day and a half. And I was really concerned, but then it went away. I was off the ice. I was doing what my physical therapist told me to do. And every now and then when I did some movements, it would hurt a little bit, but not really. So when I came back from my trip, that was almost like a month after we decided to stop all other exercises. So gradually he allowed me to go back on the ice. I was not allowed to jump. I was not allowed to spin. I was just allowed to go back and forth. But still, some of the exercises for footwork would hurt the groin area of my hip, especially if I was on the right leg. That is the one that was in pain. Another month passed, and by then I remember I was in this group class in skating, and we started doing the loop jump. And, you know, it had been 4 months at a time. I hadn't been cleared by my physical therapist to do it, but I was so over it. And I was so tired of reminding all these group class coaches that I was injured. And, you know, you have everybody there doing it, peer pressure. Even though you're an adult, you fall into those traps. And I was like, okay, screw it, I'm just going to do the jump. Excitingly enough, I could do the jump. However, after those 30 minutes on the ice, I started having a horrible pain in my groin that didn't go away. And I got really, really scared because even walking would cause pain, which was completely new to me. For me, the only moment where I was having pain was when I was working out or skating. But now even walking and feeling the pain was so scary. And I remember that Tuesday morning, because this was a Saturday, Sunday I was in pain, Monday I was in pain, Tuesday I was walking my dog. That was the day that I had physical therapy in the afternoon. And I was walking my dog in so much pain that I lost it. I was so upset with myself. I thought that I might have torn the muscle, that maybe I was too impatient and I overdid it and the muscle wasn't ready. And I, of course, was thinking to myself, why can everybody else do a sit spin and I cannot do it? Am I that weak? Like, I was feeling really, really bad about it. I was scared about the whole situation because walking and feeling pain was completely new to me. That afternoon, when my physical therapist saw me, he did a couple of tests that are really common to diagnose this labrum tear condition. The one that is the most common is that they bring your leg. This is the good leg. You're laying down. They bring your leg and then they rotate it in. I think they rotate it in and up, something like this, to create the impingement. And when he did that, I almost lost it. I was in so much pain and I started crying and I was desperate and I asked him, because of course, when you're an athlete, you are this irresponsible. I said, I have a competition in a week. Am I gonna be able to compete? And he looked at me and he was like, I don't know if you're gonna be able to skate at all. Like, not only compete, skate. So he said that it was time for me to go see the surgeon, and he gave me a name, and I was so lucky that I guess there was a cancellation or something, because I called the next day, which was a Wednesday, and got an appointment for Thursday at 8 a.m. I was really lucky. I got there. They did the same tests. Then they did x-rays. They asked for an MRI, which happened a week after I saw the PA. By that Friday, which is a week and a half after I saw my surgeon's team for the first time, they diagnosed me with a labrum tear and a cam and pincer impingement, which means that my cartilage was torn and that I had extra bone in the head of the femur, an extra bone in the hip socket, and they were crashing, which was tearing the cartilage in there. And of course, I asked, I was like, I have a competition today. Can I go? And she was like, there isn't really anything that you can do to make things worse. So if you can escape through the pain, go for it. And I went for it and I won gold, which was amazing because I really had no agenda being there. I was just so excited to be there. My prize was to be able to skate that day. And I guess that helped out with the nerves. I ended up doing a very good job and won somehow, which I still don't understand, but I'll take it. So after that, they proposed the surgery, and I took a couple of weeks to ask for a second opinion, think about it, talk to my physical therapist, do a little bit of research, and then I decided to go for it. And the surgery happened 3 weeks after I made the decision. Here I am, 4 months post-op already. So now that I know what the diagnosis is and what the condition is, I understand a lot of things that have happened with my hip throughout my life. For example, this leg, the right leg, which is the leg that had the surgery, has always been less flexible. If I do a butterfly stretch, the left leg would go down, the other one would stay here. I never accomplished the splits, which makes a lot of sense because I had extra bone and that didn't allow me to do that. But if I try to do, the left leg would always get farther than the right leg when I was doing the splits. There is a step in skating called mohawk, which is a change of direction where your feet are like this. And I could do my change of direction starting with the right leg and putting the left leg, no problem. But if the left leg started, the right leg would come in a little bit like this, and I would always have trouble with that, and now I understand why. It's just because I cannot open my hips. And there are a lot of other things that skating and ballet have with your feet completely open. I never made it to 5th position in ballet, or 2nd position, I think it is. Even 1st position, okay? I've never been able to completely, fully open my feet like that, and it is because of the impingement. That's my story, and those were my symptoms. But I wanted to also talk about the most common symptoms that I have read of or heard from my Facebook group, other videos that I have watched, other articles, other testimonials of people that have spoken with me. And here are some other symptoms that I have seen people having. The first one is not being able to sit for long times. A lot of people have this issue, either driving, traveling, the movie. A lot of people say that they can't even make it through a whole movie before they start feeling pain. And in the worst conditions, I have seen people who cannot sit for longer than 30 minutes. Another thing within sitting is that people would have pain crossing the leg while sitting. Lower back pain is something super common. I have seen testimonials of people that have had back surgeries, thinking that that was going to fix their problem, and it turns out that they have a labrum tear, and that's the reason of the diagnosis. Knee pain. I have learned throughout this experience that your hip is very connected with your knee, so a lot of the recovery that I am doing right now is to strengthen the hip and also the knee. So knee pain can be definitely another symptom. And from what I've seen that people say is also pain that starts in the hip and goes down through the thigh to the knee, or also tingling that goes down, or nerve pain that comes through the hip and goes till the knee. Another symptom that I saw is not being able to walk for long distances or even to stand for long periods of time, losing stability going downstairs, and also pain in positions that would cause impingement. For example, yoga, Pilates, leg presses, in my case, the jumps and things like that. Those are situations that would also cause pain if you have a condition in there. Now, let me finish the video by saying that there are a lot of people who have this condition and don't have symptoms. And usually if you have the condition on one side, and you will have it on the other one. But if you don't have symptoms in the other one, then there is no need to do a surgery. And that's something that I'm still digesting. And again, I'm not a medical professional. Ask these questions to your doctor. But from what I have understood and learned from other people, if there is no pain, if there are no symptoms, then you can just live your life normal. And that's what happens with 50% of the people that have this condition. 50% of these people don't have any symptoms and they live a happy life. But the other 50% of us have had to go through all this craziness to get healed and fixed. And here we are. So I hope that this was helpful somehow for you. Please leave a comment down if there are any symptoms that I am missing so people can read them and also educate themselves. And thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe this video. Bye!